This is Patrick Foley, aka Patrick4D. I just came from the last tutorial. My voice hurts because I just spent 40 minutes talking, but I'm just going to continue this real quick since I'm here. And right now we're coming from this is part 2 of the tutorial, the post-production part in Photoshop. So I'm going to open Photoshop while I got this up. I'm going to save this, right-click, save as a 16-bit TIFF, PSD layer. Click OK. And I'm going to just say this is tutorial render. Yeah, that should be fine. And so next, what I'm going to do is open Photoshop, go to the Finder, and where is it? I saved it in this folder. Here are all my renders. And I'm going to drag this TIFF onto Photoshop. Simple as that. So now we got this bad boy in Photoshop. What I always do is Command J, aka duplicate the layer, just in case I make mistakes or whatever. I like to edit non-destructively. And next thing I'll do is go Filter. And I guess if you want to play it safe, convert for smart filters, whatever. Filter, Camera Raw filter. Camera Raw is what I use to edit all my photos, whether it's my actual photography or these things. It's a great plugin built into Photoshop, and it lets me adjust all these colors and shit. So what I'm going to do is first, what I like to do is go to my curves, and instead of parametric, go to point. I like to add fade on these things, drag the blacks up a little bit, and then convert it into a little S-curve. So it brings the highlights up a little bit, the shadows down, while giving that faded look. So before and after, already we're seeing a little bit of a difference. 2, let's go back to the basic settings here and see what looks good. Mess with the tints of everything, feel everything out. This looks decent. Mess with these colors, my bad. And let's add some vibrance to this thing until we're happy with the way it looks. Alright, 30. Let's add 30 on the vibrance. FX, we're gonna add some grain. So we're gonna take this up to like 25. Take the size of them up to like 33. Bring the roughness down to like 30. So now you can see we got this grain going. It looks more like a photo. So before and after. I personally like that look, but if you don't like that look, do whatever the fuck you got to do. But so we're looking good here so far. Next, I usually go to the split toning. I usually take the shadows, bring the saturation up a little bit to like 23, and move this somewhere. Let's see where this would look good. Somewhere around like maybe 38, 36, somewhere around there. So we're getting a little orange tint to this thing. It doesn't look totally dry. And if you want, you can mess with like the highlights too. I'm not gonna mess with it with this image. I don't think it needs it. Mess a little bit more with the temperature. Make sure we've bumped out everything we want to on this image. Let's see. Looks pretty decent. That looks good. So minus 17, minus 15 on these levels. Sometimes it's good to add some contrast. It adds for the realism, so add like 15. Maybe boost the shadows a little bit. Let's see what we're working with here. Actually, I think we're good with the shadows there. So I think this one's actually good. So if you want to see before and after, so much difference, so much life. This is like a flat TIFF. Still looks good. Like if you look at this texture, it looks amazing. It looks like this marbled texture. Looks really clean. The pink makes you wonder what this object even is. But I think we're good there. So that's like half of it. Probably even more than half of it. Sometimes I spend a lot of time and can't figure out what I want. Also, a good note, it's really easy to save presets. Let's say you're like, oh, I really love the way I colored this one. And a lot of times I set up these objects in similar conditions. So I want to save these settings on here. And you can do that by going to this last channel called Presets and adding a new preset. saving that whatever you want. As you can see, I have tons of presets that I've saved over the years for different things. All look way different. If I want to save this, let's say make this tutorial preset. Dope. So I save it right there. And it's actually saved right here, as I can see. But if I go to like other ones that I thought looked good for other ones, like look at that, it looks terrible for this. This one does not look that good. That, I don't know, not too bad. This got something. Just different ones that to me looked great for like some other renders, but look terrible for this. But if I go back to tutorial preset dope, this one, you know, fits perfectly. So I'm gonna click OK, and because it's a smart layer, I can add it and remove it and go back, literally click and go back to these settings, and they'll be saved, and it's non-destructive. And a lot of times I'll just show you in this, even though I'm not going to use this technique. A lot of times what I'll do is, let's say I right click and rasterize the layer, so it's just a single layer. I'm going to duplicate this layer now, and I'm going to take the blending mode, set it to lighten, and now what that allows me to do, you saw nothing happen because it's literally the same layer, but if I were to move this layer, you can see kind of like the lighter parts of the picture. So if I were to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, take this down to 0, nothing happens. But now when I boost this, you know, if you wanted to get certain like light rays or light beams to be glowing, this is how you do it. So 4.2, click OK, and if I click here, add a layer mask, I can selectively choose what I want to be in and out of the picture. So I'm gonna lower this, go to my eraser, and literally what I actually do is have this layer mask selected and hit Command I. So now it's all black. It's, yo, what's up, bro? My friend just walked in. I'm making this tutorial real quick. You can come in, yeah. So what you do next is you literally take this brush. If you're on the brush, you got to be on the brush this time. And what happens is make sure your opacity is set to 100 or whatever you want the opacity to be, and make sure you're set to white because you're painting on this black layer mask, so you got to have it be set to white. So if I want this light, usually it works on the lighter areas for like the glows. If I paint on this area, it blurs it out. So wherever I paint now, it blurs, and it'll work. And it might not work for this image because nothing, like, we don't have like light beams or anything. So I'm gonna delete that, but for future use, if you got light beams, it'll work fine. So that looks to be good. Last thing I do for every single check is on top of every layer, I add the hue and saturation adjustment layer. So what that allows me to do is say, all right, let's look at everything I did. Let's see if you want this in any different variation. So if I drag this, you can see like these crazy different color combinations. Sometimes it looks better than others. This one, I think the one we picked looks best. But sometimes doing this actually really, you know, it tweaks with the colors in a really good way. And then you end up picking that one. So just by setting this to 0, I'm just going to delete this. And that looks good for this one. I'm just going to bump this out right now. So before, after, huge difference with Photoshop. You can see just a crazy amount. If I even just go like this, create a layer mask, before and after. Insane amount. Like, this doesn't even look realistic. This one looks like a photo. So, and that's the beauty of doing this way. And what I'm going to do is file, export, save as web, because this is going to be on Instagram. JPEG, 100% quality, 1080 by 1080. Literally perfect. So tutorial render, save that, and we are literally good. And it's ready for Instagram. So appreciate you guys looking at this video. For the post-production techniques, obviously sometimes I add smoke, sometimes I do reflection, sometimes I add composite like my brother in there, or like a human figure. And so in future tutorials I'll probably show that to you guys, but for this I didn't need it. So subscribe to this YouTube. I appreciate you guys seeing this video and following my progress. 10,000 followers, we got it. So yeah, tell your friends about this if they're curious to learn Cinema4D. Hopefully I explained this stuff well and easy. If not, give me some feedback either way. If you liked it, if you didn't, hit subscribe. And let me know how you like this stuff, guys. Appreciate it. Take it easy.